Module 2, Part 1, Why Have Goals? When thinking about an internship and eventual career, it is important to think about what's important in your life and coming up with some sort of a goal or set of goals that you might want to realize during your career. And so we're going to talk now about the process of determining goals that you might have for your life. And so one of the ways to start to think about this is look to see what other people have said about goals and why they have them. So the first quote here, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Second one here talks a little bit about maybe types of goals to choose. It says here, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So maybe thinking about goals within the context of getting outside your comfort zone. The Hollywood actor and former governor of the state of California wrote this quote when he was 15. And he went on to win several bodybuilding championships and for many years was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. There's a story that he actually wrote down a quote, something similar to this, and put it on his refrigerator so he would see it every day. And a lot of people do that. They'll write goals and they make sure that they're very present in terms of being able to see it each day and maybe even sharing those goals with other people that are important to them in their life. Because when we share our goals and we see them daily, we're more likely to accomplish them. So one of the ways to think about establishing a career goal is to ask yourself this question: what's the biggest thing you want out of life? And the article about finding your passion from the New York Times was talking about this. And it was talking about this in the context of don't find your passion, but foster your passion. And the author's argument here is that interests aren't discovered, they're developed, they're honed over time. And you may not know exactly what you want to do now, but it's important that you move toward what interests you. You're in this major because presumably you are interested in the title of it and maybe some of the courses in it and possibly some of the careers that a person might get from this type of education. But it's important to not overthink this. You want to move in the direction of something that feels better than worse. And I think for most people, again, if they don't know exactly what they want, they at least know some things that they like. It's important when thinking about our future to put this in the context of what's going to be your purpose, what'll make you feel good. So rather than asking the question, what do I want to be when I grow up, you should ask the question, in what way do I wish the world were different? And that would suggest, what are things I can do to make the world better or make the world different? So another way to think about this would be what some people refer to as eulogy virtues, or basically, what do I want people to say about me when I'm gone? Or what do I want to be inscribed on my tombstone? And it's also important that to be thinking about this purpose throughout your life, such that you finish strong. It's important to point out that your first job is unlikely to be your last, and ideally you should always seek to continually improve yourself and learn something from every job. Not everybody is going to walk into their dream job from day one and have that for the rest of their life. Many people will have multiple careers over the span of their lifetime. And if you strive for continual improvement, if you strive to learn something from every job, that'll make you a better person in that next job. And so if you're wondering kind of what you should be doing now, it's important to start working on this stuff now. You know, what's your passion? What are you interested in? What will give you purpose in life? And you don't have to wait to do this until you do your internship or after it's done. You can start finding some things you're interested in now, start talking to people, start volunteering, do seasonal jobs, see what kinds of knowledge, skills, and abilities are required for different careers, and start acquiring those skills and abilities now. As part of the value goals process, it's important to clarify what your values are. And so for the purposes of this exercise, for the goal statement exercise, we're going to define values as the deeply held convictions that influence your thinking when you are faced with choices. And it's important to understand where our values are because they influence our beliefs, which in turn influence our attitudes, which in turn influences the choices and behaviors we make on a daily basis. Values are typically shared by a culture. We have very few values as a culture, usually between 9 and 12. They are formed by the age of 12 or 13 and are very difficult, if not impossible, to change. We have hundreds of beliefs about different items, and these would be everything from abortion to our political views, and are very difficult to change, although not impossible. We have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of attitudes over the span of our life. Attitudes are somewhat difficult to change, and we can gain new attitudes about objects throughout life. We will have millions of behaviors over the span of our life. Some behaviors are very easy to change, whereby others are very difficult, like when my kids were young, trying to get them to pick up after themselves. So, looking at the value, attitude, behavior hierarchy here, we can see that the choices we make, the way we respond to stimuli, the way we behave on a daily basis at some level is influenced by our values. This is the end of Module 2